students, today we'll discuss about the cryptographic hash. So this chapter speaks about the hash principle. So what is hashing, students? So hashing is nothing but it's a function which maps an element from the larger set to the element to the smaller set. So smaller set is nothing but a fixed set. So basically this hashing is very helpful to retrieve the elements and all from the databases. Okay. So for example, students, we have a list of names. As you can see here, this list of names, this can be lot of names actually. Okay, there may be 100 names, there may be 200 names. Okay, but in the right hand side you can see we have only 26 letters. Okay, so this is a smaller fixed set, this is possibly and this is a larger set, whatever you can see in the left. And we can see how do we map here. See, for example, we map using the first letter of each word. See, for example, if you take this example, Sanjay and Sonali both start with S, and with these both names we are mapping it into S. Okay, so that mapping basically is done through a hash function. Okay, so this is all about the hashing. Okay, so let us understand some of the properties. So first thing is nothing but this hash function, basically it's nothing but h of x is equal to y. Okay, where h is nothing but a hash function, x is the input. See, for example, if you take the previous example, that Sanjay, that name Sanjay would come as an x and y would be the s, whatever you map. It's as simple as that. Okay, so in this same principle your first property works, which is nothing but the one-way property. So one-way property is nothing but you apply a hash value basically, okay, on some x or to get the y. Okay, so that is nothing but whatever we have just spoken, that is one-way property. Okay, so h of x is equal to y. So okay, so that is nothing but the first thing. Okay, so here instead of x they have taken b as an example, that's all. Now next is nothing but weak collision resistance. So weak collision resistance is nothing but, students, they are telling that here, students, we already have an input value x1. So they are telling that even if x1 is given, input value x1 is given, it is computational infeasible. So what do you mean by computational impossible? It's very much difficult to find another value x2, okay, which gives the same hash value, okay, which gives the same hash value. That is nothing but in simple words, whenever you compute the hash value of x1 and whenever you compute the hash value of x2, both should map to the same y, both should map to the same y. Okay, so that is what they are telling. So that means what? The y is same, okay, that y parameter is same, okay, x1 and x2 is different, okay, but when to hash value where it is mapping is same. For example, Sanjay, take it as an x1, Sonali, take it as an x2. Okay, so have you hash h of Sanjay and h of Sonali. So say let it be x1, let it be x2, both are mapping to the same this thing, yes. So that is what they are telling, h of x1 is equal to h of x2. Okay, so this is nothing but weak collision resistance. Even if x1 is given, it is difficult to find x2 which maps to the same value y. Okay, same value y. Okay, so even if Sanjay is given, it's difficult to find Sonali, okay, which also basically maps to the same value s. Okay, so see here one more example they have given. This is nothing but the one-way property example. Okay, you map for some x and you get y. So here they are showing, see, x1 is there, okay, x1 is already given for you and it maps to some value y here. So finding another x2 which again maps to the same value y, it is very much difficult actually. So that's what they are telling, it's computationally impossible, infeasible. Computationally infeasible means you require more number of transactions, you need to go through a larger number of values. So that is what they are telling, weak collision resistance. Next one is the strong collision resistance. Strong collision resistance is nothing but here in the weak collision resistance, at least x1 was given, here they have not given x1 also, you need to find both x1 and x2, and so that h of x1 and h of x2 is same. So for example, if you take the Sanjay and Sonali example, even Sanjay is also not given, you need to find Sanjay as well as you also need to find Sonali which maps to same s. That is what they are telling. Next one is confusion plus diffusion. Confusion plus diffusion is nothing but even if the single bit is changed, students, they are telling that see, even if the single bit in the input string is flipped or changed, then each bit of the hash value is flipped with probability roughly equal to 0.5. See, even one bit is changed, then all the bits will be flipped. That's what they are telling. And that probability is equal to 0.5. That is what confusion plus diffusion property says. Okay, so that is what. So this is the understanding, whole understanding. So this is programmatically they have given students. Okay, this is programmatically they are telling the weak collision resistance. Okay, so one more thing we need to understand. See, assume the hash value is w bit long, so the total number of possible hash value is 2 to the power w. So this is one thing you need to know. Okay, yeah. So in this program what they are doing is nothing but they are simply going on taking different values of x and they are finding the hash of h of x dash. Okay, h of x dash is nothing but the value, different values. Okay, they are checking on different values. So till when this will continue? So this will continue, students, till this value matches to x. See, when this value h of x dash basically it becomes equal to y, that time it will come out and it will return the x dash. Okay, so that is what they are telling. This x dash is nothing but the x2 here. Okay, so they already have one value here, so they are in hunt for the second value. Okay, that is for when they are hunting for the second value, that is x dash, they are checking on different values. So obviously, students, till it is not equal to y, obviously we go on doing. So that is why this condition here. So when it becomes equal to y, it comes out of the loop and it will return x dash. So it's as simple as that. Okay, so that is what they are telling in weak collision resistance. And while coming to the strong collision resistance, students, obviously it is both the values you need to find. So that's why two loops you can see here. Okay, in this program. So next one is the birthday analogy. Okay, so this is one more concept. So let us understand this concept. So what is this birthday analogy? So attacking strong collision resistance is analogous, means similar to answering the following. Okay, so attacking strong collision resistance, students, it is similar to answering the following. So what following? So that is nothing but the next line says, what is the minimum number of persons required so that the probability of 2 or more in the group having the same birthday is greater than half. So whenever we read this, students, you might be a little bit confused. So they have given an example in the next line. So they are nothing, they are telling nothing but they are telling students, whenever you even if you take as small as 23 random individual students, they are telling that in that 23 23 set of people, they are telling that there is a greater chances of 50%. There is 50% chance that two people's birthday will be there on the same date. Again, I am telling you, students, in a set of 23 people, they are telling that there is a 50% greater chance that the two people's birthday coincide or it comes on the basically same day. Okay, so that is what they are telling. So this is called as the birthday paradox. Okay, so next, this is the birthday analogy. Now next let us understand what is birthday attack with an example, students. Okay, with an example. Okay, so the following idea first proposed by this guy Yuval. Okay, so he is basically telling what is the danger in choosing the hash value less than 128 bits. Okay, so students, see here we have understood that in this paradox, even whenever such a small number of people are there, even that time also that there is a larger chances of collision. Because of this collision, what problem can occur? Okay, so that problem they are they are trying to explain in this birthday attack, students. Okay, so even if the hash value length, even if it is less than 128 bits, what is the problem? That's what they are telling. So even if small values are given, then what is the problem? That is what they are telling. So they are simply taking one simple example and they are explaining you this concept in this birthday attack. Okay, so what they are telling, let us go through that example and let us understand it. Okay, a malicious individual. So malicious individual is particularly a person who is not authorized basically to do a particular work. Okay, which he is going to do here. Basically he is not given a permission to do that work. Okay, so here that person is malloc. So this malloc is nothing but a person, students. Here don't get confused with the data structure malloc. Here this malloc is just a guy who is malicious here. Okay, he basically wants to forge some documents, students. Okay, of who Alka. this Alka is basically a victim, because on that Alka's document this guy wants to purge. Okay, so basically on a fake document, students. Okay, so F. Okay, so what this guy what that document says. So that document may say, for example, Alka owes Malloc several million rupees. Okay, so that fake document created by Malloc says that Alka should give Malloc several million rupees, but actually that is not the truth actually. Okay, this guy is simply wants to basically forge. Basically this guy is simply creating some document F, and he is telling in the document that this thing Malloc, that Alka has to give Malloc several million rupees. So this document will become legal only when Alka signs on it. Okay, if Alka signs on it, then only it becomes a legal document. Okay, Alka signs if it is not there in that document, how will it become legal? So this Malloc, in this example, what he is doing is nothing but he creates that fake document, and he is doing that idea he is doing an idea so that Alka signs on that document by mistake. Okay, so let us see what he will do for that. Okay, so what he does. So Malloc, now whatever we is seeing from here, this is nothing but a operations created by Malloc for forging the document. Okay, yeah. So he creates, students, millions of documents, okay, of F. That is nothing but a clones of F, F1 to Fm, maybe 100, maybe 1000, maybe 100, okay, like that, 1000, that depends on him, how much he creates. Okay, so he creates millions of documents of F. Okay, so how does he do? So he does it by leaving an extra space between the two words. Okay, yeah. Next, so example they have given, if there are 300 words in that document, then they are telling that there are 2300 ways in which extra spaces may be left between these words. Okay, yeah. Then he computes the hash functions, okay, of these documents. Okay, F1, F2, whatever documents he has created, clone documents, he will find the hash of those documents. Okay, then students, this much he will create and he will keep like that only. Then after that he will create this Malloc will create one more document. Innocuous document means that document which is harmless. Okay, even if someone signs on that, nothing much danger is going to happen even if someone signs on that. Okay, so that is the innocuous document basically. Okay, yeah. Then what they are doing is nothing but he creates millions of clones of this document also. Okay, he see, first of all, this particular F document, basically F document, obviously it is a basically fake document only, but it is a very dangerous document because it says that Alka has to give Malloc several million rupees. Then this document D, basically it is basically a harmless document which will not do much harm to Alka even if she signs on it. Okay, yeah. So example is nothing but it might be some document related to some environment this thing. Okay, purpose, environment purpose means something, it might be selling that you need to conserve a forest or something, so it's not a very dangerous document or something. So he creates that document, then again like what he has done with F, he is going to clone this document. Okay, he is going to clone this document, then he will create the hash function of these cloned documents. Okay, after that he will tell the Alka to sign on this document and Alka will agree to it. Okay, later on Malloc will say that Alka has signed the fraudulent document. Okay, so how he will tell like that? So he will tell like that using because he will get the digital signature, okay, which is obtained by encrypting the hash value of the document using the private key of the signer. Okay, so he will obtain the private key of the Alka and he will sign himself. That is, then he will tell that Alka has signed the fraudulent document. Okay, which will tell that that Alka has to give Malloc the several million rupees. So obviously this fact of fake document will be signed by Malloc, not by Alka. Okay, so he by doing this harmless document, whenever Alka signs on that harmless document, this malloc is going to obtain the private key once he get of the alka. So when he get the private key of the alka, he is going to sign. Okay, he is going to sign. Oh, malloc is going to sign. Then he will tell that he is going to tell that alka has signed it. Okay. So this is dangerous, students. So whenever if less number of basically documents are there, this is the dangerous danger. That is what they are telling. So they are telling you need to choose the hash value which is much greater, so that such kind of forgery is difficult. So that is what they are telling. That is the concept of this birthday attack. Okay, so this is the entire concept of the birthday attack, students. Okay, so next is nothing but the construction of the generic cryptographic hash. Okay, so this construction basically will discuss in the next video, students.